Alright, what's going on? So, unfortunately for us, we have a ban list. This ban list sucks. Kinda. It's not all bad. Seriously, it's not. Now, I will preface this by saying that, up front, without really spoiling anything else, the first hit is Fairy Tale Snow. I don't know why they brought this back. I mean, I get it. They wanted to see if it was good enough to be played in a fair manner. But with the decks that are running around right now, you know, being able to just banish anything from anywhere at any time, summon a body on board, and be able to flip a monster face down, especially before they start establishing link plays. I see what they were trying to do, but no. This should have stayed banned. I mean, I guess I have to give it to them for giving us a format to just play around with this like they did with Snatch Steal, you know, Trident. I guess, but it's just, no. Like, no. Do not bring this card back. Seriously, for a good while. Ronin Totem is banned. And as you can see down here, Hulk of Firebex is banned. I'll talk about that in a moment. But Ronin Totem, I can't say I expected this, but considering the fact that Sprite using the Frog engine is just a hell of a drug right now, especially with how strong they are. Not really as strong as stuff like Tier Element really is right now, but I would say that it was one of the driving forces to be able to have Sprite performing exceptionally well, especially as well as it was when it was legal. Now that it is banned, I mean, I don't think the deck will slow down as much as I am currently expecting it to, but I do think that this is going to be a little bit of a kick in the crotch, so to speak, to Sprite, just to say, hey, chill out, you know, play Pure or play something else, but we're done with you abusing Totally Awesome and things like that. Now, who knows, they might be as ballsy as to ban Toad itself later on, although unless, you know, we figure out a way to really get a Toad on board without having to rely on Ronin Totem and be able to do it consistently. I mean, who knows, but Ronin Totem is the hit they decided to go for. I mean, sure, it's fine. I mean, it is what it is. You gotta cut some limbs where you kind of don't want to, especially with how new Sprite is right now. I definitely did not expect something like a blue hit or a starters hit or anything along those lines right now. Definitely not. Like, probably maybe not next list, maybe the list after, but that really all depends on what happens with the Ishizu set, you know, how Ishizu Tier Elements performs and how much they really take over, at which point, you know, Ishizu Tier Elements really could be one of those decks that ends up really holding itself as the best deck, firmly as the best deck at that. So we'll see what happens. Crystron Halka-Fibrax. This is, I would say, long overdue. I can't say that, given what else wasn't hit, which I will get to as we go down this forbidden list area, but Halka-Fibrax was responsible for so much. It enabled so many decks to be able to synchro summon with the greatest of ease. Punk used it, you know, being able to proc so much advantage and just put big, beefy synchro monsters like Bear on the Floor. And if you're using Sword Soul, you know, if you weren't able to just inherently combo off and you needed to go in a Hulk to be able to get yourself into a Chang Hing or a Chi Zhao or something like that, you know, the synchro utility that Halka-Fibrax gave us, and the ability to just pop into a tuner synchro, formula synchron being the biggest, you know, thing that comes to my mind right now, being summoned off of Hulk. Yes, this card needed to go, and I feel like for as long as it's been in the game, I feel like it's been here long enough. I wouldn't say it's been here super long, like too long, although you've had moments where Halka-Fibrax was definitely a pain in the ass, you know what I mean? But at this point, it had to go. It had to go. It's time. Goodbye, Halka-Fibrax. Go sleep in a ditch somewhere for like a good 2, 3, maybe 4 years until we'll even consider bringing you back. Then we go down to this. Chaos Ruler, the Chaotic Magical Dragon. For those who may not know too much about this card, I know some have been using it, but maybe others may not know about it. It's essentially a synchro monster that's generic that you can put on board, where you excavate the top 5 cards of your deck, you get yourself a light or dark monster to your hand, and then anything else that you mill off gets dumped to the grave. In particular, making this in stuff like tier elements is just... it's so dumb. And then the fact that not only can you mill and get yourself resources in the graveyard, it could revive itself too by banishing a light in the dark. So if you're playing something like tier and you have stuff that goes to the grave, like just as a quick off the top as Effect Veiler, you know, Nibiru, something like those that are light monsters that are hand traps you can easily get to the graveyard, and you have stuff like the tier element monsters where, you know, if you're using Chaos Ruler, you're going to be getting those monsters into the graveyard. So with its utility to be able to do so much as it is bittersweet, I really did like this card for what it did. I understand the fact that sending monsters to the grave, or cards to the grave, essentially for free, it's just, it had to get checked. There's too much things going on and too many plays you could just make with this. I'm not just thinking about tier elements alone, you know what I mean? Go, once again, just like Halka Firebrax, go rest underneath a ditch or in a ditch and rest there for a good while. I don't even know how long we could ever see this take the comeback. I mean, it's gone. I will mention this at the end. There is no Mystic Mine hit. Trust me, I got words for that. Red Reboot. Konami, what was your mindset when you did this? Was it just too sacky of a card? Like, I don't know. Now Eldritch can kind of get a little bit more degenerate. There's not really that much of a worry about having to deal with something like Red Reboot anymore. I mean, sure, you still have removal like Cosmic Cyclone, Harpy's Feather Duster, dare I say, Mystical Space Typhoon. Twin Twister's another one that comes to my mind that's pretty good. Like, we're already playing these cards anyway. Anyway. You know what I mean? We have to out stuff like Mystic Mine, maybe getting rid of the Tier Field spell. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of reasons to play back row removal right now. I really don't know if Red Reboot going to 1 was the move here. I really didn't see this as a big of a problem as maybe other people may have. Maybe I'm not understanding the actual impact of Red Reboot in a game, but to limit, like, to take it to limit it for one, which I guess I understood at the time, but to now ban it, like, that's brutal. Like, that's brutal, man. I'm sorry to anybody who really got genuine use out of this. It saved them games. It's gotten them wins against troublesome decks that, you know, really could have gotten a win if the Red Reboot didn't go off. You know what I mean? Who knows? But I don't know. I feel like maybe they should reconsider bringing this back later on if it really does get to the point where traps are just too much of a problem. Like, now Imperm doesn't have a way to get stopped inherently. Like, I don't know. Maybe, who knows? And with anti-spell running around too. I forgot about that too. Yeah, that's, I don't know, man. Alright, so before I get into these two, O-Lion and Steam the Cloak, I will mention Cyberjar. I guess, bro. Like, I really can't say, oh, this is huge, or oh, this should have been did this. I'm on either side. I'm just in the middle right now. Like, on one end, sure, decks can set this, maybe abuse this, get some use out of it. On the other end, I don't think it's going to be abused to the point where every deck is going to find a way to bring this and get advantage off of it. Maybe, you know, because I think it adds the cards that are revealed to the hand, and that's 5 cards. So, I mean, I guess, but both players have to get that, so you're giving that player another reason to get some advantage. It's weird, you know what I mean? Now I'm going to go into Steam the Cloak and O-Lion. These guys essentially were locked behind bars because Halka Firebrax was able to bring them out. With no Halka Firebrax running around now, they can start testing the waters and putting them at 1 and seeing if, okay, will this make that much of a difference? will this actually get to a point where, you know, maybe we don't have to worry about it being at 1? We can put it at 3? I don't know. But it is what it is. Welcome back, guys. I guess maybe if you find a way to use you, we'll use you. But only reason I can see Steam the Cloak coming back is because I know there's Blackwing support coming out and Darkwing Blast. So maybe. And O-Lion is just I don't know what to say about it. I mean, hey, welcome back. Like the fact that you're able to come back just because Hulk was gone really kind of shows the impact of Hulk of Firebrax and what it does. Substitute coming back, I guess this is one of those cases of if there's no Ronin Totem, then there's no reason to have both Substitute and Ronin locked up behind bars. Like, who knows? Maybe they'll find a way to abuse this too. But I guess, like, there's a lot of cool things I guess you can do with this in theory, but I want to see how players experiment with this and really kind of get a use for this. Everything else here, Spellbook of Judgment back to 1. Honestly, I don't see a problem with this. I mean, sure, you can maybe summon out some degenerate spellcaster and get resources or something like that. Maybe you can summon out a level 2 in Sprite, but that means you'd have to play the Spellbook engine too, and you'd have to have this in your hand to be able to activate it so you can get that extra Spellbook monster out. Maybe something like Spellbook Magician of Prophecy because you'd be playing the Spellbook engine. But other than that, like, I'm kind of happy this came back. I'm really excited to see where this goes. Now, I don't think it's going to be super ultra mega busted like how freaking, if we come back up, how Snow came back and everybody's just sitting there just like, what? You brought this card back? Like, this is insane. I don't think Judgment here will have that much of an effect. Appointer of the Red Lotus. This I found very funny. You know, I guess paying 1,000 life points and revealing your hand to get a rip wasn't enough. I mean, I guess if you're going to get knowledge on what your opponent's playing, I don't think you'd be maining this. If you were maining this, you were able to get an idea of what your opponent was playing from the rip if you're able to get this early. I can see that, but, you know, I guess, once again, the knowledge is too powerful and the hand rip is too strong. You can get rid of stuff like Ash Blossom. You can get rid of stuff like Ghost Ogre, Effect Veiler. If maybe stuff like DD Crow, Shifter, I don't think really does a lot either, because if they're going second and they, you know, drop Shifter in response to you activating the Lotus, really doesn't matter too much. Like, sure, it's still a rip, but, you know, who knows? I get it in the terms of what it provides, but I can't also say that I wanted this to happen. I get it though, so whatever. And finally, last but not least, the stuff that got brought to 3 that is no longer here, that no longer has to be underneath that lock and key. You can run free and live your life and do your thing. Dynamite Knight, the True Draco Fighter. It's been a while since True Draco really had this card at 3. I don't even remember when this card was last. It probably was before it was initially banned, you know? So, hey, you know, welcome back, Dynamite. Maybe we can see some real cool stuff go down, because Dynamite was one of the stronger ones that you really looked at in terms of True Draco monsters. But other than that, you know, hey, it's here. It's ready to get down. Maybe we'll see something cool come out of it. Cyber Angel Ben 10. Now, I am on the fence about this because I really don't think that Ben 10... I don't know. Like, I'm really, once again, in the middle, just like how I was. But I'm more in the middle because I see so much potential coming out of 3 Ben 10, but just not enough potential to really make it the threat that it was before, especially with Ava being banned still. I mean, hey, I guess it's fine. Gives Drytron a little bit more power so that maybe they can keep up with some of the stuff that Sprite and Tier, you know, decks like that are doing right now. The Punk engines, the Punk variants, you know what I mean? Also, keep in mind here that you may not see it, but there's no hit to the adventure package either. So we can still do some kind of cool stuff out here. It would be nice to really bring Drytron up to that extra little standard and give it just a little bit more gas, just so it can maybe perform a little bit better in regionals, YCSs, and those premier events where we really want to see Drytron maybe not come back to its full glory, but at least give it some representation to say, hey, I'm still here, I'm ready to get down with it. Shooting Riser Dragon, I really don't even know why this was limited in the first place. They should have just kept this at 3, but I guess, once again, the collateral damage of Halka Firebrax. Maybe they just saw it as, look, at this time, we just cannot afford to have Shooting Riser Dragon at 1. Even though, I'm pretty sure the last list, they limited Halka Firebrax, so I guess. Sure, I mean, here we go. Whatever. Whatever, man. That Riser really gets me. It really rubs me. Oh, like, why hit it the 1 if you hit help the 1? But okay, it's off the list. It's been rectified. Thank you, Konami, for at least giving us that. Fusion Destiny. The best I can give you is there's no Verte, and it's not even being used. Like, sure, you can still activate Fusion Destiny to do stuff and make DPE, but we're really at a point right now where we're not really looking to play Fusion Destiny without Verte or something to help turbo out the Fusion in a consistent manner. So, hero players, hey, 3 Fusion Destiny, you're back up with a little bit extra of, you know, a power buff. There you go. Cool, we're good. Like, it's off the list. Nadir Servant. Nadir Servant, I don't think I've seen that card really get used in a while. I would say a little bit after it got hit, but I really could not be 100% certain. Trixler Light Stage, I guess it's one of those things where it's like, alright, it was at, like, here, is that 1, let's bring it to 2, okay, let's bring it to 3 now. You know what I mean? I haven't seen a lot of Trickstar players really come out of the woodwork when it went to 2. I don't think it'll be that different with it coming to 3, but, yeah, once again, who knows? And finally, Wall of Revealing Light, a very funny card. I really have no words for this either. It's like, alright, cool, it's back. Maybe it'll get abused eventually when there's some sort of life point hack you can do, but other than that, I mean, there you go. Now, I wanted to save this part finally because I needed to talk about Mystic Mine. Now, here's where I'm at with this. Konami, I need to really talk to you in particular. What were you thinking? Not even at least limiting it. Like, limiting. Hit Mystic Mine. Damn it. Like, Konami, please. You've seen Mystic Mine perform to, like, get a dub at a YCS. You know, regionals performances show that this deck, you know, the card itself can win and get players so angry. Like, it's just, Konami, why did you not hit Mystic Mine? Even if you made it a one of Saki, if you draw it, you win type of thing. I mean, honestly, at this point, because of how much Mine has lived, I'm really shocked now that it just didn't get banned. Like, I guess they're seeing it as a necessary evil? But in the same token, not even a semi-limit? Like, something? Can you at least acknowledge the fact that Mystic Mine is a very problematic card and it promotes the most degenerate of decks and most degenerate of gameplay, you know? Certain decks, I understand it. Sure, you have to play Mystic Mine because without it, you'll get blown out by something like Tier Element Sprite. But in the same token, you have those other top-tier competitive decks that take Mystic Mine and turn it into just a twisted sort of like cage where it's just like, look, you can't do anything essentially until I'm damn well ready to do something, you know what I mean? And really all you have to do, you could just get cards, pick apart their board, and then when it's time to make plays and do what you gotta do, you can do it. But it's just like, with how much it just slows down the game, with how annoying it is to deal with how much you actually have to sit here and look against a Mystic Mine as you're in your rounds, as you're probably going undefeated, as you may be going X1, and just getting either cucked out of a win with a draw or a loss. You know, it's... oh, like, Konami, guys, please, I'm begging you, next list, can we see some disciplinary action on Mystic Mine? Please, like, I don't want to sit here and play another 8 months, because most likely, you know, the last one was in May, and now we're in October. So May, June, July, August, September, and now pretty much the beginning of October, right? So that was about 4.5-ish months that we had to play with Mystic Mine, and we were all hoping, okay, look, they'll hit Mystic Mine, they'll either get rid of it, or at least in my case, knowing how Konami wants to ease it out, they would probably limit it first, and then next list they would ban it. Okay. They didn't even limit it here. Something needs to be done to Mystic Mine. It cannot keep running around. And to the players that use it to really get an advantage over decks that are giving them trouble, and I genuinely mean like using it like as, alright, I can't really deal with Tier Element right now, I need to play this Mystic Mine so that I can actually at least get somewhere. Okay, fine, but it's a minority against the majority of players who either are tired of Mystic Mine from the top to the bottom, or are just like, look, Mystic Mine needs to, like, what's the problem? Like, just play that out, head. Like, really, I'm just at the point where I just don't know how Konami could be okay with just letting it live as freely as it does. That's it. That's the ban list. This is gonna be unedited, and I don't even think I could muster up any courage to edit this, just because I just want to get this out as soon as I can, just to get my thoughts out while I still have the energy and it's fresh on my brain. Like, let me know what you guys think, okay? Tell me what you guys are feeling about this ban list. Do you think I'm just being an overreactive dumbass? Or do you, agree, maybe if not all aspects, maybe in some aspects, you know what I mean? Like I said, Konami, please, can we get a proper hit to Mystic Mine at some point? Please, anything would be optimal. I would love, I would love if you guys can handle Mystic Mine. As a Yu-Gi-Oh player who really enjoys this game, who's really been getting back into it, who's gotten back into it, you know what I mean? I really want to see this game at least go back to being able to just play outs, you know what I mean? Instead of just playing an out for perhaps the most oppressive field spell in the game. Probably one of the most oppressive cards, if not the current most oppressive card in the game. Just how much rage and anger it brings. Guys, please, let's do something about it. Alright? Alright. Thank you guys so much for watching this. See ya. I'll be streaming at some point, maybe next week. Just wanted to let y'all know. Okay, bye.